Hi, we're here with Adina Collins coming at you from Vision Show. We're so excited to have Adina with us. Adina is the CEO of Fortitude Financial Consulting. Adina,
Hi.
forgive me.
Hello. It's okay.
Hi. Adina has an MBA in General Management and a BS in Accounting from Tulane University. She's coming at us from the heart of the eye care industry, Dallas, Texas. We're so grateful to have you here today, Adina, on Vision Show. Tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got started. We'd love to dig right in and get to know a little bit about you.
Thank you so much, Charlene, for the opportunity. I appreciate it. Um, Thank you for the wonderful introduction. I have about 20 plus years of financial experience working with smaller businesses, with small corporations, nonprofits, as well as in the public sector. And so a lot of my experience has been working in accounting, internal audit, financial analysis, budgeting. So really having the full gamut of responsibility. Um,
Awesome.
to be able to assist other people. I launched my own business about 2 years or so ago. And so I do indeed help smaller businesses, entrepreneurs, and startups as well, and just making sure that they are indeed well put together, making sure that they are taking advantage of every tax opportunity that they can, so we can make sure that they are not overpaying in taxes, as well as providing them with virtual um, chief financial officer services, and
That's
also being a
interesting.
money and a business coach. So kind of the all the way around well-rounded thing. So I'm definitely looking forward to being able to assist your audience. As a business owner, I'm very passionate, and I definitely want to make sure that they are aware of different opportunities that would be available to them, especially since everyone has been impacted recently by the sudden halt and unfortunate economic disaster due to COVID-19.
And you have such a multifaceted background and skill set that I do appreciate your willingness to kind of stay focused on this whole major question on everyone's mind. I'm a small business owner included. And, right now things are happening every day that are just, outside of our control. And they're just not things that we've prepared for in the past. And for a lot of people, it can be very depressing and very frustrating if you don't feel like there's a pathway out.
Yes.
And so I'm really excited to hear your take as a financial consultant and advisor on
Mhm.
how to get that shovel and just get started now. So this way, let's face it, the faster you get getting yourself out from being buried, the better you're going to be. And there's no reason to wait. You could start right now.
Yes.
Um, Before we do that, I had a question for you. Let me see if I can remember it. I'm having a senior moment and not enough coffee today. But as a you mentioned virtual chief financial officer, which sounds pretty fancy. So do you feel like there's a certain type of customer that needs you? In other words, like a small business that's like just barely hanging on by a thread. Would they be a candidate for you, or do you feel like you only work with complex companies that have the financial infrastructure to need a CFO?
No, actually, I am perfectly positioned to actually work with both startups as well as seasoned business owners. And so the thing is that chief financial officers just don't do your books. That would be someone really more in line with a bookkeeper. But a chief financial officer is almost kind of like a steer, the steering wheel, if you will, on your car, or even the captain's steer on a ship, because you need to know which direction that you're going to go in financially. And so literally I would be working with you to ensure that you are moving strategically in the right direction. If you're planning to expand operations, or perhaps you're planning to get rid of certain lines of business, then we can definitely be able to plan properly, and making sure that you do have the right budget that's in place, making sure that I understand where you're trying to go. So we can make sure that from an infrastructure standpoint, that you do have everything that you need system wise, and also that you understand that if we go in this particular direction, you may be taking on these particular risks. The costs may end up increasing, or they may decrease, depending upon how you're choosing to do your next line of business, or how you're choosing to scale up or scale down.
So I'm a small business owner. I'm an optical shop or optometry practice. I have equipment, equipment bills mounting. I have inventory bills mounting. I have lab bills mounting. I have a delicate balance in my life. And I am now thinking every day that I'm looking out the window, thinking, when is this thing going to over? I am in, let's face it, pretty much panic mode. What can you say to me to help me feel like there's light at the end of this tunnel?
There is definitely light at the end of the tunnel. First of all, we know from Washington's standpoint, we know that it is extremely critical for businesses to get back to stimulating the economy. It's extremely important to other smaller business owners, and this is a perfect opportunity to be able to just don't shrink, let yourself be made known, because there are people that are out there that need your services, they need your training, they need your guidance, and they too are waiting because they are unable to leave their homes in some places, because the shelter in place orders have definitely gone forth in most states, as well as the extension of the April 30th incentive, which was put in place by President Trump. However, there are creative ways that business owners can definitely make sure that they are making sure that their online presence is known, that they are showing how they can still serve the community, even though you may not be able to traditionally operate out of the brick and mortar businesses that you may have. You have to think about it. There are many parents that are still going to need your services. There are still kids that need to be seen. There are people now, if you think about it, your business should be increasing. Why? Because so many of us are now stuck at home and we are required to be in front of different types of digital technology, which we know puts a definite strain on your eyes. And so being able to make sure that you are still keeping up with everyone and making sure that they are maintaining the right type of optical health, that is going to definitely be a chief concern. And it's not just, something that's unique to just your area, but overall, the overall health of everyone. And so because if we don't have vision, we're not able to properly do our jobs. And if we don't have great vision, so again, the need is there for you. It's just that you may have to pivot, you may have to do some creative things to be able to still make sure that you're showing up to market, but it just may be different than what you were anticipating previously.
So, spoken like a true entrepreneur. And I think we all need to have an entrepreneurial mindset. There used to be a segment of the world that was entrepreneurial minded and a segment of the world that was traditional minded. And there is not a single person in this world that's breathing today that wants to make a living that can afford to be anything other than entrepreneurial minded. And the way I've always simplified that for myself is, what does an entrepreneur do that makes them special? And it is somebody who doesn't see obstacles, they see opportunities. And
Absolutely.
coming from the industry and loving the industry and being a developer of facilitating technology for the industry, I never thought about what you just mentioned. You're absolutely right. People are got their face in their phone 24/7. They're going to need someone to get a message out in front of them that says, hey, you need blue light glasses. Hey,
Yes.
you need to develop a really good kind of occupational like wellness program to make sure that you know the 20-20-20 rule, or that you are setting an appointment to come in immediately to your eye doctor to make sure that you didn't do some damage during this time when you were just like in YouTube Netflix mode. So
Yes.
and there's so many other ways to talk about creative revenue generation. So when I think of financial consulting, I think of kind of helping you to make the best of what you have. But it sounds like you also help people to get creative about how they could put more money in the bucket.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Because I think, again, all of us have kind of been in, I would say, nearly shock recovery mode, because we were not expecting, this sudden standstill. And of course, the ripple effects are still being felt, 2.5 weeks into this unique journey that all of us are going through. And so, one of the things that, is hurtful is if we remain paralyzed. It's okay to be able to acknowledge that I was impacted, but you cannot stay paralyzed. And so I just wanted to be able to definitely encourage, the optometrist and also the opticians, to let them know, now is the best time for you to be able to show up, because if you were able to continue to show up to be able to provide the same type of excellent customer service, you are going to be able to not only retain your existing client base, but you can also expand on what you have, because you've chosen to go a different route. And so the people who show up, the people who are consistent during this time, are going to be able to bring in even more revenues. And so I do understand that there may be blips in reference to the supply chain that you guys have to deal with. But the thing is that you may be able to also draw other types of revenue streams by being able to offer online services, kind of the equivalent, if you will, of telehealth, if you will. And so you are
Love it.
still able to be able to meet
You are on
virtually.
it, Adina. I'm telling you. Well, there's one thing unequivocal. I want you in my foxhole.
Well,
Oh
thank you. I
man.
appreciate that.
And I gotta say, full disclosure, you're kind of new to my network.
Mhm.
You're one of the people that I didn't have to drag kicking and screaming to the vision show table. You saw the opportunity. I am
Yes.
so appreciative that we were able to attract top talent such as you. And I think the really important thing to talk about, and I hope you will agree, is that this is not a one person challenge.
Oh, absolutely not. No, no, it's not. It's
And
not.
that's
It
what
is
vision,
universal.
just to kind of take that one step further, and then I'd love to hear your response to this, because I know you willingly agreed to be a part of our network. Vision Show is exactly that. It is an opportunity to not only get access to the tools, technology, and training that's going to help you to really develop a new normal for yourself, but it's also an opportunity to get access to people that if you were at a trade show or you were at an event, you'd never get to speak to these people, because these are the people that are really out there killing it. They're locked in rooms and meetings because everyone wants to hear what they have to say, or that they're really kind of making moves. And I just feel so, and today I've spent a lot of my day interviewing people like you. And I'm just incredibly privileged to have your level of talent and support and positivity and just the positive energy. Just I'm just really blown away. So thank you so much for really getting it, actually.
Well, thank you. I definitely appreciate it because, again, all of us have been impacted in one way or another. And, even my business as well, because certain deadlines have been pushed back in reference to taxes. And of course, I would have been super, super busy during this time. And so this is my opportunity to be able to give back. I am an eyeglass and also a contact lens wearer. So I definitely appreciate everything that your industry does, because honestly, without having corrective vision, I can't do my job. But then this is also a way for me to be able to give back to the business community, because I too have not arrived here by myself. And so this is just a privilege to be able to come and serve.
We are living in post-COVID or current COVID times where we have children and cats and all kinds of things coming into the equation. So bear with me. So I think the reason people were really attracted to this topic, and I know for sure I am, I think a lot of people are trying to figure out, I mean, like, okay, let me give you a perfect example. I had to file for unemployment. I mean, oh my God, like that was horrible. So just getting access to the websites that where you need to get these answers. And now you've got all these predatory financing companies that I could imagine giving you like scare tactics, or you leveraging this. I mean, there's really no right now in this, while we're eventually there will be a common knowledge with the stuff and we'll all learn from our friends. But right now we're all kind of at the same starting place. Please, please, Adina, talk to us about the CARES Act and what is it? And how can it help, and who can it help, and what do we need to do to leverage this, and what are the pros, what are the cons, what are the things to watch out for? I'd really love to hear your take on this.
Well, the great thing is that the CARES Act actually covers a couple of different things for most Americans. And so the good thing is that the CARES Act included the economic stimulus program, which was for individual payments. So these would have been direct payments that would have been made to individual people. They could have been self-employed. They also could have been employed by a company. So they would have been W-2 employees. As an individual, you could, if you made less than 75,000 per year, using your 2018 tax return, you could receive up to $1,200 directly from the federal government, and they would have just used your banking information from your tax return if you were due to get a refund. And if not, then they would actually give you a paper check. However, if you were married and you were filing jointly, and as long as your income, your adjusted gross income was below $150,000, then you could get up to 2,400 as a married couple. And then if you have children that are 17 years and younger, then you can get $500 per child. So it is a way that the feds are trying to be able to stimulate the economy, not just to be able to have you to meet living expenses, which we know is extremely important during this time. But again, we have to make sure that the money continues to circulate, because as long as the money is circulating within the economy, then we can begin to start having our economic recovery. So the direct payments were part of the CARE Act, as well as the SBA loan program. And so there are two different types of programs that we can discuss a little bit later on. Also, there were some payroll tax credits for smaller to mid-sized businesses. And so if you were a business, a nonprofit, a co-op, you could be self-employed, a solo proprietor. So if you literally had less than 500 employees, you can definitely benefit from some of these things. And all of this is really under the umbrella of the CARE Act. And so it wasn't just one piece, it included multiple pieces. And so the good thing is that, you know, it is to our government's interest to make sure that businesses do come back, and they do come back strong. Of course, they cannot fully fund all of your expenses, but at least it would be a great start to be able to do that. You know, if you're able to be able to go to your bank and be able to potentially do a line of credit, or if you were able to search out other type of private lending that doesn't have an extremely high interest rate, of course, that would be helpful as well. But again, you know, it is to our economic benefit that the government gets working again, that the economy is stimulated, because the truth of the matter is that the US economy is not made up of huge corporations. 80% of the US economy is really made up of smaller businesses. And believe it or not, according to the SBA, a small business is typically classified as making $30 million or less.
Wow.
Yes, yes.
A long way to
So,
go.
right. We're working towards it, right? We're working towards it
Oh
every day.
yeah, right.
Yes,
Everybody's got to
yes,
have a dream.
yes, absolutely. So a lot of people really would qualify.
So there's so many questions I could ask you, but what I would like to kind of give you an opportunity to talk about, first of all, is I'm an optometrist or an optician. I have a practice. I am just, my head is swimming. I don't know where to start. I really want to connect with you through the Vision Show, which is why we set this platform up, so that you can not only watch a webinar and learn about these really great resources. I mean, a lot of people watch webinars. There's Zoom all over the place. You get like a Zoom meeting invite every 10 seconds now. But we wanted Vision Show to be a real interactive experience where you can actually go to Adina's booth and talk to her. And I know that you've started setting up your booth. It is on Vision Show. You are in the speaker circuit, and anybody that needs help finding the Vision Show at all, it's visionshow.io. And if you need help finding the speaker circuit where you can meet all of our great speakers that were nice enough to join us today, you can send me an email, info@visionshow.io. And Adina, if I was one of these individuals and I wanted to just get some time to kind of pick your brain a little bit, do you offer some sort of a free consultation, or some sort of a kind of like share with me your P&L, and I'll tell you, I'll tell you if there's some hope at the end of the rainbow?
Yes, actually, right now I've started not just for you know, the vision industry, but definitely for all small businesses and entrepreneurs. As I have time on my calendar, I'm offering a virtual coffee chat. So this is up to a 30-minute session with me. There may be some things that may kind of fall within the consultative mode, but again, this is a safe place, a no judgment place, where literally you can have a safe place to be able to talk to someone who's in business, who can hear you out, listen to where you are, and perhaps give you one or two tips that you could potentially implement into your business and say, well, you know what, instead of me, being fearful and feeling like I'm stuck, then at least I could start working towards this. And again, if there's something that you feel like you would like to be able to work with me, beyond short or long term, then we can definitely go ahead and discuss it at that point. But again, I would be happy to be able to meet with people. I believe that I did go ahead and list my website under the booth. But if you go to my website, which is fortitude.finc.com, then on the main homepage, you can scroll down to the bottom and you will see there's a link there that says click for an initial interest call with me. And so we can do Zoom or we can do telephone call, whatever makes you feel more comfortable. And I'm definitely here. I'm an open ear and would be happy to be able to assist you and to speak with you.
And so one of the things with Vision Show that's very new is a lot of people watching, they don't really understand fully what the platform is yet. As you know, as somebody who has been like, experimenting and navigating, the more you learn, the more you explore, the more you uncover, you're like, oh, wow. So just to kind of pick up where you left off, Zoom isn't always easy for everyone. Not everybody knows how to, open up a Zoom room and punch in a meeting code. So in a perfect world, if somebody is watching now and they do have an attendee badge and they do come to Vision Show and they do find Adina's wonderful booth in the speaker circuit, you could very easily, by clicking Easy Chat, which is to the right hand side of her booth, leave her a video message by just clicking the video button, no matter what device you're on, a voice message or a chat message. And Adina will be able to answer you by video, chat, or voice. You can also join Adina upon invitation in her booth for an instant live stream chat by clicking the easy chat button to the left. But of course, you have to let Adina know you're there and you'd love to schedule some time with her in her booth. And while the platform is open, which we've decided to extend exhibit hours because people are just now starting to get an understanding of what Vision Show is. And most of them are like, wow, you mean I could have spoken to somebody who actually knows what the heck's going on and actually get my questions answered and not be in a webinar with 50 people who are all like, I don't even understand what this is? Yes, you can. And beyond Vision Show, Adina, what are some other ways that our audience can catch you, can meet up with you?
Sure. Again, you can definitely go ahead and schedule on my electronic calendar. So there is a link that's on my website. That's one way. Also, I am definitely on all types of social media. So if you follow my company, Fortitude Financial Consulting, I am on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I do have a YouTube channel, Pinterest, and also on LinkedIn as well. So you can definitely follow me on LinkedIn under Adina Collins, MBA. And also Fortitude Financial Consulting has a company page on LinkedIn as well. So you can definitely reach out to me through any of those platforms. If you message me, I promise I will definitely get back with you as soon as possible.
And we will be sharing all of this content along with the ways to reach Adina in our Facebook page, which if you just go to Facebook and type in Vision Show, you'll pull up our page and you'll see us there and you'll be able to, like our page and get future updates. So I know that we did have some people join us today and I'd like to open it up to any questions that you may have.
Don't be shy.
Yes, you mentioned the disaster recovery coronavirus CARES Act and how this can help people. So, and you mentioned some of the amounts that people are going to receive. One of the things I've been talking about recently is the timeline and the effects of whether you have an account that can receive direct deposit, or if you don't. Can you talk to us about the possible effects of of having an account versus not having an account, and the timeline of receiving the funds?
Yes, thank you so much for asking that question. It is, of course, much easier for the feds to be able to process electronic payments, such as with direct deposit. If you don't have direct deposit, more than likely they are going to go ahead and process a paper check. And of course, we know that paper checks cost more. There's mailing time. And so ideally, from some of the information that I've been reading online, the earliest that some of the economic stimulus checks may be going out, excuse me, direct deposits could potentially be going out would be April 17th. Again, that is a very, very early date. However, if you do not have information already in the system with the IRS, then more than likely it could take 8 to 10 weeks to be able to receive that check. And again, everything is contingent upon how many federal workers are working with the IRS, as well as the people that are indeed reviewing the information as it's coming through. So it's definitely to your advantage, if you can, to make sure that you do indeed already have something in the system in reference to direct deposit to ensure that you can get your monies faster.
Well, thank you very much for that question. And was there anybody else that had any questions?
Yes, my question is, what is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program?
Sure. Thank you so much for asking that question. The Small Business Administration, the SBA for short, actually has two different types of loan funding for business owners. And again, I kind of began with this with Charlene earlier, but one of the programs that they do have available is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. The other one is the CARE Act Paycheck Protection Program loan. So I'll just talk about the Economic Injury Disaster Loan for now. This particular loan is a loan that is available to smaller businesses. You can be a 1099 independent contractor, a sole proprietor. You could be a part of a co-op or nonprofit. And this particular loan is available. You would have had to actually be in business by January 31st of 2020 to be able to potentially be eligible for this funding. This particular loan is based upon credit score only. So it would be a relatively quick approval process. And this Congress had actually gone ahead and set aside $10 billion, billion with a B, dollars aside for this particular disaster loan program. And so businesses could potentially get up to $2 million for this particular program. The interest rate would be 3.75% for smaller businesses, or 2.75% for nonprofits. The good thing about this loan is that there is a 30-year repayment term. And you could actually defer the first initial payment up to 12 months after the date of the promissory note. So if you decided that you were going to apply for the loan and you had been approved for it, if they dated your promissory note as May 1st, then potentially you could have up to April 30th of 2021 to begin the repayment process for that. And so that is part of it. The thing is that if the loan is less than 200,000, you could actually get approval for that loan without having to put a personal guarantee together. And so pretty much a personal guarantee would be, you are applying for this particular loan as your business. And so this would be applied for under your employer ID number. So not under your personal social security number, but actually under your EIN number. And so if you had to put up a personal guarantee, literally you as the business owner would have to say, I am guaranteeing with my personal finances that if I cannot make the payments through my business, then I would guarantee that I would make it through my own personal means, and no one wants to really do that. But again, if the loan is less than $200,000, you could get the approval without having to put up a personal guarantee. The thing is that if you have a loan that's greater than 25,000, then the government would want a general security interest of your business assets, instead of actually having an interest in maybe the real estate in the building that you own. They would want to know, hey, we need to be able to have potentially a small interest in reference to the other business assets that you have, whether it's equipment, it could be perhaps the receivables that you have from your clients. What is definitely going to be able to help a lot of businesses is that you can actually apply for a $10,000 emergency grant within 3 days of you submitting the application. And so I know 10,000 doesn't necessarily stretch very far. However, Every little bit helps. And, you know, the good thing too is that if you do apply for that $10,000 emergency grant under the economic injury disaster loan program, this loan, that $10,000 could be forgiven. Yes, forgiven, wiped out if you use it on specific items. So if you receive that $10,000 emergency grant, you decided to use it on paid employee leave, making sure that you continue to make your payroll, so maintaining your payroll. If you had increased supply chain costs, or if you needed to be able to use those funds to be able to make sure that the mortgage or the rent payments on your business area were paid because you had revenue loss, then those $10,000 in emergency grant funds can be applied towards that. And so that's pretty much the makeup of the economic injury disaster loan program. Again, it is based on credit. However, I need to let you know this as a business owner. When you sign off and you apply for this particular loan, although it is credit based, and although there would be a relatively quick approval process, you are still authorizing the SBA to be able to pull your tax returns. It doesn't mean that they're going to qualify you based on the tax returns, but it is another verification of you being in business. And so you just want to be aware of that. And so if you have not gone ahead and making sure that your 2018 and 2019 tax returns have been completed, I would definitely advise you as soon as humanly possible, if you can. I know you have a lot going on, but if at all possible, if you can go ahead and make sure that those business tax returns are complete, and that way you know that they're done, they're out of the way, and you know, if I'm asked for the information by the SBA loan, it does not have to be put on hold.
So Adina, thank you so much. And we only have about another minute left. Just once again, Adina's already shared her information. We're kind of coming to our hard stop, but please be sure to visit Vision Show on Facebook or visionshow.io and visit her booth. But Adina, just one last thing I want to give you an opportunity to do, because you really do have this amazing way of looking at things, and you're just a beacon of positivity and strength, which I think people really need to kind of get that energy right now. So I'm a business owner and I'm listening to you and I'm just like, Adina, where do I start? How can I have any hope? You know, what can you say to me to help me feel like to get out of my kind of hibernation mindset and get into my growth mindset?
I'd say get off of the bench and let's get back into the game, because it is not over. It is definitely
Yes,
not
love it.
over. Step number one is definitely reach out to me again through the different channels that Charlene has already mentioned. And again, I'm definitely available and I'm here to help whatever I can do to be able to at least give you some initial steps. You know, please reach out.
Congratulations, Adina. You just wrote Vision Show's motto, get off the bench and get back into the game. I am stealing that. I hope you don't mind.
No problem.
You heard it first here. Okay, well, thank you all for joining. And if you want to catch the replay, we're going to be launching our Facebook group, Vision Show Vault, later today, where you can catch the replay. The replay will also be in the auditorium. And Adina, thank you so much for this amazing wealth of knowledge that you share. I look forward to working with you again soon.
Thank you so much, Charlene. I appreciate it. And please reach out. I look forward to serving you.
Yeah, okay, we'll see you soon. Bye.
Thank you.